Good morning, everyone. I'll call the meeting to order. Thank you, everyone. Can we have a roll call, please?
District 1 Supervisor Alejo.
Linda Gonzalez, alternate.
District 2 Supervisor Church.
Here.
District 3 Supervisor Lopez. District 4 Supervisor Askew.
Alternate Yuri Anderson.
District 5 Supervisor Daniels.
Present Kate Daniels.
City of Carmel by the Sea.
Here.
City of Delray Oaks.
Here.
City of Gonzales.
Here.
City of Greenfield. City of King City.
Here.
City of Marina. City of Monterey.
Alternate Gino Garcia.
City of Pacific Grove.
Here.
City of Salinas.
Here.
City of Sand City. Present, Mary Ann Carbone. City of Seaside. City of Soledad. Ambeg.
Here.
Caltrans District 5. Monterey Bay Air Resource District. Monterey Regional Airport District.
Pick here.
Monterey Salinas Transit.
Here.
City of Watsonville. CSUMB.
Present.
Chair, we do have a quorum.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Thank you. This morning, Mayor Rios is going to be joining us remotely pursuant to Government Code 54953, Subpart Charlie. And just for the record, Mayor Rios, make sure that we keep our audio and visual on at all times. And also, you are to announce if anyone over the age of 18 is there present with you in room. Is there anyone there with you in room?
Our city clerk, Mary Villegas, she's going to help me with getting me from one link to the next.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Shane. The next is the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand. It's all right. Thank you. So today we're starting off the meeting with a closed session. So we'll enter into a closed session right now to discuss two items. One is the public employee performance evaluation for the executive director, and the other is a consultation with the agency counsel related to a threat to public services, facilities, and security. Any comments from you?
We just open up to public comment.
There are a couple of hands raised. Phone number ending in 2837. Phone number ending in 2837. You have the floor.
Hello. Hi, thank you. My name is Brian Rosen. Most of you probably remember me. I just wanted to comment. I know you don't agree with me about the SURF project, but I wanted to bring up a couple
Excuse me, Mr. Rosen, if I may interject here. This is public comment for the closed session items. We are not yet at general public comment. That will occur when we reconvene from closed session. So if we can restart the clock at 2 minutes. And Mr. Rosen, do you have any public comment on the closed session items?
No, I'm sorry, I don't right at this time.
Understood. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Shane. Any other public comments here? I don't see any hands raised. Anybody in the room? If not, we'll enter into a closed session now. Thank you. Okay. Thank you all for coming back. We just finished the closed session, and go ahead.
Just reporting out from closed session, no action was taken.
Thank you. So with that, we'll close the closed session is complete. We'll move on to item number 3, which is public comments. These are open public comments for all the items which are not on the agenda. Do we have any public comments? We have a hand raised from Mr. Dwight Stump. Please go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Mr. Stump, you have the floor.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can hear you now. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning. I submitted a short letter to the board that I hope all of you will read. Last month, Todd confirmed that Caltrans is continuing to spend money on the untested Phase 1 roundabouts while the AI adaptive is being evaluated. Mayor Delgado asked Todd to provide details on exactly how much is being spent, even with Caltrans reducing its efforts, and that has not yet been done. Additionally, this money is being spent to do final design for construction on the newly introduced hybrid 2-lane roundabouts that have not even gone through simulated computer testing to show how many minutes they will reduce the peak AM and PM commute on the 68 corridor. Is this logical or wise? Would you spend your personal money on untested designs? How is the board going to compare the results of the AI adaptive testing to the 2-lane roundabouts without any measured results for them or any real-life examples where a series of roundabouts actually reduced peak commute times? This current spending is also being justified to meet some future SB1 grant application deadline. So what is the actual date of that deadline, and when is the next cycle going to occur after that? Caltrans at least confirmed in an email that the 2-lane roundabouts can cause an increase in crashes, even as high as 62% in a recent Arizona study. But they felt that the increase would be, quote, property damage only collisions. Unfortunately, that was not the case recently, with 2 separate fatalities that occurred within 3 weeks of each other in the same 2-lane roundabout on Highway 156 near Hollister. Will Caltrans report to the board on those incidents? I request that the board ask Caltrans and staff the 5 simple questions in my letter and demand answers so that decisions can be made based on specific facts rather than personal opinions or generalities. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Stump, and we did receive the letter. Appreciate it. We'll go on to the next caller. It's number ending 2837. You have the floor.
Hi, this is Brian Rosen. I hope you can hear me okay. It's a little noisy here. I think all of you are pretty much in support of the SURF project. We disagree about this, but I'm hoping that some of you can just actually do what I did. I spent a lot of time on the scene, and only traffic backup I could find on weekday rush hour was going southbound on Highway 1 for about 2 hours. Actually, at 8:30 it started to lighten up, but it still was about 2 hours. And I didn't find any on northbound Highway 1. And I know there are some weekends that can be pretty bad, but if we only had a extra lane or on southbound for buses only, it would be possible. Even the Coastal Commission, before they met the politicians at that time, admitted that you could create an extra lane under the overpass. And there is one area that would have to be widened, one where there's an underpass. But it would be possible to save a lot of money. Thinking the SURF project may end up getting so expensive, or the public may not be in support of it enough, that you may all end up abandoning it as the price keeps going up and up and up and up. But I'm just hoping that you'll visit the scene yourself and really check things out, the traffic flow, not just rely on the experts. Sometimes they're wrong. That's why you're here overseeing them. And I appreciate your time. I think we're I think we're almost out of time. It's going to be a long time. I appreciate Supervisor Daniels very much for working towards rail, which is very important and needed. I think my 2 minutes is up. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Can
so we
anybody
can
hear
hear you,
me?
and we captured all your
Okay.
comments. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Um,
Bye.
We'll go to the next caller. Is there anybody else online? I don't see any other hands. Is there anybody in the room that wish to make a comment? Please go ahead.
There we go. Thanks. Hi, my name is Kevin Phobes. I own and operate a small bike shop in Monterey. And I'm here to talk about the loss of access for the bike path where you could cut in and go through the Dune State Park. I understand that there's 2 different construction sites going on simultaneously. And looking at both projects, I realized that there really isn't any improvement that's slated for the trail itself. If we are losing access on a wider road that is much safer to ride because the trail itself is in such poor condition that it is a little trickier to ride in a group together. You still have to look behind yourself as you're riding due to the advent of so many e-bikes being on the trail. Whereas when you would dive into the park side, you had wider road, clearer access, and no traffic. And it's just nice to be able to have a respite from roads with cars. So I'm hoping that perhaps there's a way in which sections of the path itself can be repaved or perhaps more improvement overall. Thanks.
Thank you, and thank you for coming here. We'll go on to the next. Go ahead, please.
Good morning. Name is Eric Peterson. And regarding the last caller, somebody some years back was smart enough to put a state park and the VA clinic adjacent. And I take advantage of it when I can. I've spent a lot of time out there. I've also communicated with this entity on supporting the surf line, and somebody needs to get through to these people that the permits are all issued and construction is happening and it's not going to stop. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any others? I don't see anybody else, and no one else online. I'm going to close public comment. Thank you. The next item is the consent agenda. Does anybody in the room wish to pull a consent agenda item? Does anybody online wish to pull a consent agenda item? Okay, going once, twice. All right, do I have a motion to move the consent?
Second.
Thank you. Thank you. We have a motion to move and a second. Did you capture who? Yes.
Yes.
Let's have a roll call vote, please.
District 1, alternate Gonzalez.
Aye.
District 2, Supervisor Church.
Aye.
District 3, Supervisor Lopez. District 4, alternate Anderson.
Yes.
District 5, Supervisor Daniels.
Aye.
City of Carmel by the Sea.
Yes.
City of Delray Oaks.
Yes.
City of Gonzalez.
Aye.
City of Greenfield.
Yes.
City of King City,
Aye.
City of Marina,
Yes.
City of Monterey,
Yes.
City of Pacific Grove,
Aye.
City of Salinas,
Yes.
City of Sand City,
Yes.
City of Seaside.
Yes.
Chair, the motion passes.
Thank you. Next item is item number 5, which is receiving an update on the Safe Routes to School program and the Safe Streets Together campaign in Monterey County. Ariana Green.
Good morning. Ariana Green, Principal Transportation Planner. Could you put it in presentation mode? Thank you. And then clicker. All right, so today I'm going to talk about our Safe Routes to School program and a new initiative, Safe Streets Together Monterey County campaign. But first wanted to bring attention to a roadway safety crisis that we have in this county. In 2024 alone, 42 people were killed and 2,406 people were injured while traveling on local Monterey County roads. And so today I'm going to focus on the 3 initiatives that we are currently have underway at TAMC that will address this issue. But first, want to recognize that we're not going to solve a safety issue just by through infrastructure or programs alone. It's going to take a collaborative and coordinated county-wide effort to really improve safety. And where the Monterey County Vision Zero plan that's under development right now is recommending that we adopt the safe system approach, which is shown summarized in this diagram. And this approach has been adopted by the U.S. Department of Transportation and is being used by the state. And it's been proven internationally to be effective in improving roadway safety. And thankfully, we already have some programs at TAMC that, that are working towards several of these elements of the safe system approach. The first initiative is, as I mentioned, we're developing a countywide Vision Zero action plan. And I'm just going to touch on this briefly because Doug is going to bring this back to the board next month with a full update. But the takeaways for today is that this plan, the goal of this plan is to bring the number of fatalities and serious injuries down to 0. And it's being developed through a multi-agency task force because it's going to need to be implemented by multiple agencies, not just the transportation agency. And every community in the plan will have a specific action plan that will focus and prioritize the highest injury corridors and the best projects to address those safety needs. The second initiative is the Safe Routes to School program, and that's going to be the bulk of our presentation today. This program has been around since 2018, and it helps us work towards the safe road users, safe vehicles, and safe road elements of the safe system approach. This program would not be possible without our many partnerships. So the way we've been doing things is the transportation agency has been partnering with cities and the county to develop plans and go after grants for big infrastructure projects. And then the transportation agency brings in other partners that provide the community and Safe Routes to School programming. Our key partners have been Ecology Action and the Monterey County Health Department, but more and more, and the schools, of course, and more we're bringing in community-based organizations to work with. A little bit of background info on the program. It does have funding through a voter-approved Measure X, around $20 million, not $20, $20 million over 30 years. And the guidelines were adopted in 2018, so they're due for a refresh. And a big focus of our program has been trying to leverage those Measure X dollars. So we have committed $1.2 million for grants, for Safe Routes to School grants and projects, and we've brought in $55.4 million in active transportation program funds, sustainable transportation planning, and Clean California funds from the state. And I'll just add that one of the reasons we've been able to leverage and be so successful is that grant writing is one of the core components of our Safe Routes to School program. So we write grants, we help cities write grants, and have had that's how we've had success. And we'll continue to be a big part of the Safe Routes to School program. So now I'm going to get into the programming. So bear with me, there's a lot that we're doing. And to help you kind of understand how this all ties back to the Safe Systems approach, I've put in the key elements in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen. So most of these are going to be focused on making sure, focused on safe road users and behavior and education. But our planning efforts and participatory budgeting actually get at the roadways and the infrastructure too. So identifying how we can improve our roadways, identifying grant projects as part of that process, and the participatory budgeting process actually identifies and gives funding to construct real projects as part of the planning process. So we have adopted Safe Routes to School plans for the city of Seaside and Marina, the city of Salinas, all 4 incorporated cities in Salinas Valley. And we're currently working in North County on the North County Safe Routes to School plan, which we're hoping will be adopted later this spring. So I'll be bringing that to our board, to this board in the next month or so for your review. We work with Ecology Action to provide safety education in elementary schools. So, and they've started to work with middle school students as well. And this is a picture of a bike rodeo. So they bring bikes to the schools and teach kids the rules of the road, including to look for distracted drivers, which is happening in this scene here. And they teach every session, every school, they teach kids to ride for the first time, which I still don't know how they do, but they do, and they're amazing. We have installed this is a list of all the traffic gardens we've installed across the county, and many of them are publicly accessible. This picture is one of those publicly accessible traffic gardens in San Antonio Park in King City. And you can see they look like little roadways, and they're a teaching tool so that kids can practice their safety skills in an off-street environment. We've also been including roundabouts in the design of these traffic gardens, and have added that to Ecology Action's curriculum so that kids understand how to navigate through roundabouts, and through the kids, their parents will also. And we have more traffic gardens planned. I think it's 8 more that are funded through upcoming grants. And we also have a whole traffic garden webpage on the Safe Routes website with a video on how to use them. So check it out when you have time. We also offer crossing guard trainings. We work through the school districts to get as many school crossing guards trained in each training session. TAMC leads walk and roll events, and these ones are just a fun walk to school, like parade. We bring the big characters, and then we have goodies at the school to give to kids. But every opportunity, even though this is more, an encouragement event, we always talk about safety and safety tips. And then building off of that, we've started doing walking school buses, which is a weekly organized walk to school group, which includes safety education as well as just some more fun. And so we've piloted this with 10 schools. We're actively working with 2 schools in King City, and we're planning to work with 5 schools in Seaside, Marina, and Salinas. And we also have lots of walking school bus resources for schools who want to start their own walking school bus on our saferoutesmonterey.org website. We'll be piloting school pool with 3 schools. Maria, can you help me with that, please? We're going to be piloting school pool, school carpool with 3 schools in Seaside, where we have a new Go Kid platform, which you approved during consent today. So thank you for that. That platform will help make it easy for parents to find carpool matches and manage their carpools. And then we're also doing this as part of a construction traffic mitigation for the Broadway project. So we're trying to get more cars off the road. Sad to say, but when people are feeling the pain, that's the best time to get them to change their behavior. So we're trying to offer a positive solution before that happens and then during construction. We support bike repair in South County and Salinas through our partnerships with the Greenfield Community Science Workshop in Rancho Cielo. These are pictures from a recent Greenfield Community Science Workshop. They serve all incorporated and unincorporated communities in the Salinas Valley, and they fix up bikes and then they give them away to people who can't afford them. So this is one of the efforts that or programs that help us have safer vehicles on the road. So people are riding safe bikes and safe scooters and skateboards. They also offer weekly workshops with community members so they can learn how to do minor repairs themselves on their own bikes. And then we've also been doing sidewalk art. It's more than just a pretty picture. We found that this is actually one of the best ways to get community engaged with our Safe Routes to School and transportation planning projects. It's not, most people don't have the technical skills to design a roadway or even understand roadway design, but lots of people understand sidewalk art and the value of it and can get involved. And another thing is that people slow down when they see beautiful pictures on the street. So it does have a traffic calming effect. And it's an opportunity for us to connect with community on multiple levels. And then we build programming off of this artwork. We do walking school buses and walk and roll to school day events and have activity sheets that help the community connect back to the art and our mission through Safe Routes to School. So we have completed a project in East Salinas. We're currently working with Alisal High School on a project that the Salinas Youth Council is leading, which is really cool. And it's a new thing that we're trying out. So far, so good. We're also have an active sidewalk art project in King City that Aaron is leading. And we have plans to do similar sidewalk art projects in North Salinas and in Marina as part of the grants that we already have. At the January TAMC board meeting, there were several board members who were wanting more youth to be involved in TAMC projects. And I'm happy to tell you that the Safe Routes to School program is where that is already happening. So one of our big goals for the program is not only to benefit you through the work that we do, but actually give youth opportunities to be actively involved in our projects. And we've been doing that through our partnerships with Cal State Monterey Bay and Middlebury Institute, working with classes of students to enhance our projects and programs. But we've been wanting to do more work with high school age students. And so the top picture shows some North County high school students conducting a school site audit as part of our North County Safe Routes to School plan. The bottom picture is some Salinas High students who developed some of the art that was installed on the streets as part of our sidewalk art project. And they were so proud to do something for their community, for the little kids, and something that's going to be in the community for years and years. And so I think sidewalk art is a good place for us to engage with youth. Yesterday I met with the Soledad Youth Council, and we're talking about how they can help us prepare a big grant application for the city of Soledad. So they're going to help us with community engagement for that grant. And they're also going to do their own little sidewalk art project. I'm giving them paint next week to do that. And then we think that there also are some opportunities through the safety campaign. That is a perfect segue to our third initiative. And the Safe Streets Together Monterey County Safety Campaign. This is a countywide campaign. The goals are to, of course, increase awareness about safety issues across the county, but also to affect long-term behavior change. And the way we're approaching this is more of a bottom-up approach. So we're developing campaigns with each community we're working with so that the community takes ownership over the campaign. It's not something that's being done to them or proposed to them, and they're going to be leading that effort. So we're starting in San Ardo. We're going to be launching that campaign this spring, and then we already have grant funds dedicated to doing campaigns in King City, Chular, Castroville, and North Salinas. And so in conclusion, next steps, you'll receive a full report on the Vision Zero plan update next month. We're going to be launching the Safe Streets Together campaign later this spring. And then I'll be bringing a Safe Routes to School program guidelines update to you all later this year. So that was a lot. That concludes my presentation, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you have.
Thank you, Ariana. Great presentation. Is this slide available somewhere for us to download? Yes. If not, please upload it. But I'll open it up for questions or comments. Anybody from the board wish to make a comment? Please go ahead. Well, please go ahead.
Ariana, I just want to thank you for the partnership. I know that a lot of the projects we've been able to get underway, both San Ardo, Chular, even parts of San Lucas back in the day, have been meaningful for the community. I was going to ask, I see that Council Member De Leon from King City is on with us as well. Maybe you could send myself and the City of King reps the walking school bus schedule. Would love to join one of those and join them for a walk to school. So if we could get those dates and times, that would be a great opportunity. But just overall, thank you for the work that you're doing. And I'll share that great projects sometimes ruffle feathers too. We recently did a walkthrough in Chular and talked about where the new sidewalks are going. A lot of those edges have been cut to show exactly where the new sidewalks are going to go. And folks are upset. They're saying, I'm going to lose my property, right? But at the end, most of them came around and said, yeah, I told you how I felt about losing my property, but man, that's a great thing. So just know that it's kind of this push-pull, right? Change is difficult. But at the end of the day, what we're all in it together for is to make our streets safer. And we're seeing that impact now of this partnership with the health department, our leaders from community through programs like Enlace who are with us today. So just want to thank you for the efforts that you've put in to get us this far. And thank Carlos, I see him in King City up there who unmuted. So thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Yes.
Thank you, Ariana, for all the work you and your team is doing. Everything you've done in Marina has been wonderful to see, and sometimes I'm able to participate in it. So thank you for that. There's a glaring example in Marina where the high school, the middle school, and a very busy street all come together without sidewalks. And I know that in every jurisdiction, there might be glaring examples where progress is still wanted. What's the best avenue for jurisdictions to check into the process to see where their glaring examples might get some attention?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we have our Safe Routes to School plans, which identify recommendations. And I think that the Vision Zero plan is also going to be a good place to look to see where the real safety need is, because the safety need will help get funding, outside sources of funding for the projects.
Okay, so jurisdictional staff should pay attention to the Vision Zero plan and see if their jurisdiction is getting those glaring needs inserted.
Yes.
Right.
And then we also have the Regional Surface Transportation Program grant that's coming up. The competitive grant applications will be due to us in June. And so all cities and county can apply to that to improve sidewalks and things like that.
Much appreciated. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Anybody else? Please go ahead.
I wasn't going to let this opportunity go by. Ariana, thank you so much for the presentation. through my former employment with Ecology Action, I was very directly involved with a lot of these projects for the Safe Routes to Schools. And I just wanted to take the opportunity to really elevate the incredible amount of work that goes into all of these projects, not only by TAMC staff, but also members of the community, some of which I see here in the audience this morning. It's really, for me, was an honor, has been an honor to participate in all these Safe Routes to School plans and the participatory budgeting piece specifically because it really brings massive projects that typically don't go to underserved communities, brings them to our communities and engages our communities to bring forward that vision of our residents. So I wanted to elevate that piece. And being that we have audience members here who speak Spanish, sorry, interpreters, I'm going to switch to Spanish really quick. Simplemente les quería dar un agradecimiento a todos los miembros de la comunidad que han participado en este tipo de programación. Se les agradece su dedicación, su trabajo mes tras mes, tratando de mover estos proyectos adelante para que realmente se realicen usando la visión de nuestras comunidades. Así que muchas gracias por estar aquí. Muchas gracias por el trabajo que hacen. Thank you so much, Chair.
Sure, thank you. Go ahead.
Ariana, so Mayor Delgado mentioned the intersection of, a number of schools in Marina, and we saw a handful of schools in Seaside. I'm wondering, how is that relationship handled with the district? Because we have dozens and dozens of schools at MPUSD, and I didn't see the representation that we would hope to see from those schools in there. So is it like at the school level? Is it district level? And is there any way that we can help support to make sure that these, walking school bus safe routes are really being well distributed throughout the district?
Yeah, so we tend to start with the district to organize these sorts of programming. And then it's also sort of depends on what grants we have, what active grants we have. So, because we have, limited staff resources. So we can't serve every school every year, unfortunately. So yeah, if there's a need, you can reach out to me. I know in the last fall, there was some safety concerns and an incident with an e-bike and a middle school student. And so we were able to provide programming to all the schools in PG this last fall, and they're serving them this spring too. So, if there's really like an immediate need, just reach out to me.
Anyone else from over here wishing to make a comment? I see at least one hand online. Michelle Overmeyer, please go ahead.
Morning, everyone. Michelle Overmeyer with Monterey Salinas Transit.
You're coming in a bit faint. Could you speak up a little bit? Thank you.
Is that any better?
Somewhat.
Does that sound better?
Yes, thank you.
Sorry about that. Michelle Overmeyer with Monterey Salinas Transit. Thank you very much for the presentation, Ariana. I know a lot of traffic congestion around school sites is related to parents dropping off or picking up their children. And MST would like to help relieve some of that background parent-driver congestion. So we'd like to participate in the Safe Routes to School programs to help train students on how to use the bus safely. This could help reduce some of the parent driving congestion that happens during the commute school times. And we do have staff dedicated to do travel training. This is partly funded with Measure Q funds. So we have staff that can teach individuals how to find the closest bus stop, how to understand timetables so that they can get to their destination on time. So I think this could be particularly helpful for older elementary or middle school students. So we look forward to participating in this. Thank you.
Thank you for your feedback. Ariana, I think one thing I can certainly say is that within my community, everybody knows the term safe routes to schools. So every time anything comes up with funding, that's the first question they ask. So good job, like just communicating the message at least. And I appreciate the update with respect to a lot that is going on. And we look forward to the following updates, which are coming in next month. Thank you. Are there any public comments? Anybody online? Okay, we'll close this item and we'll go on to the next item, which is a timed update, and it looks like we're right on time. Oh, yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
Hi, everybody. My name is Ana Nunez, and I'm promotora with CCA. I'm also part of a leadership in Castroville, and I'm also an employee with the LIP Institute, better known as the Green Reiteros. And I was part of the safety roads in North County. So being a part of the safety roads was an amazing experience. It showed me that even that we all think different when it comes to benefit our community and especially our kids, we will find a grounded. It was not easy. It was a lot of effort and time consuming. We worked together for almost 18 months. It was so motivating to see how committed we all were that it keeps me motivated to keep going every month for 3 hours. Knowing that our effort, it's finally coming out and do it, it makes me so proud to be part of this one. It was a lot of effort from TAMC, from Gino, from everybody in there, but also a lot of effort from us as the parents. And again, being there for 3 hours, we all think different. I think we started with 100 things, then we went with 50, and then that, and then finally came. And you know what? The best thing that our community like is that we let them vote. It was not just us. We allowed the community of North County to vote. El Día del Niño in North County, we presented to them, we told them, and people were so excited to be there. So that was one of the best things, that we allowed the community to decide, not just the committee. Thank you.
Thank you. So, and that's in fact one of the participatory budgeting objectives, power to the people. Thank you. Go ahead.
Good morning. My name is Diana Jimenez. I'm a North Monterey County resident, and specifically, I live in Castro, lived there most of my life. I would like to acknowledge the work of TAMC and their team because they were so effective in engaging our community and bringing and motivating us to show up to the meetings. And there was very limited money, and as Supervisor Lopez says, it's always push and give. So we had to negotiate among North County, which, as you know, is unincorporated, has many needs from lighting to safe streets, and lots of our areas have been neglected for a long time. So as a community, we had to negotiate for this limited amount of money, and we came up with a solution and agreements for the greater good of the community. So again, I want to acknowledge my community for showing up and the TAMC team for enabling us to engage in this important project.
Thank you for sharing. Anybody else? Okay, appreciate all the commentary over there. We'll close item number 5 and move on to item number 6, which is the 2025 Transportation Excellence Awards. Teresa, right?
Hi, so I'm going to stand here in the back of the room because we're going to have the presenters up front and also the honorees. So first of all, let me say welcome and thank you. I am Teresa Wright. I'm going to serve as your host today for the 24th Annual Transportation Excellence Awards. And you've had a little sneak peek in Ariana's presentation and also in the comments that you heard for the people who came to the podium. So let's get the program started. and Maria, you can go ahead. We are going to be honoring people, programs, businesses who make an effort to improve our transportation in Monterey County. So we're giving out 3 awards today. The first one is going to be an individual award. The second will be a program award, and the third one will be a project award. So the first individual award, the first award is going to James Herrera. You can go ahead and change it, Maria. James is a reporter with the Monterey Herald. He's been there for over 30 years, and throughout that time, he has served in a lot of different roles, right? But most importantly for this award, he consistently reports on transportation projects, city projects, trail projects, things that are related to improving transportation, and particularly his beat is the City of Seaside, Delray Oaks. He's consistently reported on our projects on State Route 183, State Route 68, US 101, the extension of the rail program, transportation and regional trailhead projects and local cities, as well as innovative technologies such as advancement in air mobility. You can go ahead, change. But for this award, we want to recognize him specifically for some Measure X regional projects that he has consistently reported on. And in fact, if you looked at your newspaper yesterday or read it online, there was a story. So the first one is the Fort Chad Canyon Del Rey segment. That first article was when we actually had our groundbreaking ceremony in Delray Oaks. And from that moment on, he has consistently reported, sometimes it seems like almost every other week, about the project. The article in the center is as the project progressed, and then the article that I just referred to, which was in yesterday's paper, was the one on the third one on the right. The next project that he consistently reports on, and you can go ahead and change the slide, is the MGM Roundabout Widening Roundabout Project. And again, consistently from the groundbreaking to every major development in any of those projects, he consistently reports on. So those are just some of the headlines that you see on the screen there. Next one. And then the Surf Busway and Bus Rapid Transit Project, again, he consistently reports whether we're having a challenge, if there's some issue that needs to be resolved. Consistently, Mr. Herrera reports on these items. Go ahead. And so for that reason, we want to recognize James Herrera, particularly as a reporter, because some funds are less and less, resources are less and less, but consistently, dedicatedly, steadfastly, he reports on transportation projects in Monterey County. And for that reason, we want to thank him and congratulate him. Mr. Herrera is not here today. Somehow that's not a surprise for a reporter, but in his absence, we want to recognize what he has done, consistently does, and appreciate the efforts. And so for that, we want to thank him. The next award is a program award. Yes, thank you. Okay, so this next award is a program award. You can go ahead and advance that. And this is the one where you had a little sneak preview about. It's the Safe Routes to School North County Participatory Budgeting Steering Committee. And go ahead, Maria, and change it. So as you heard, this was a project that, and it's a collaboration with a number of agencies, businesses, government staff. But the North County Safe Routes to School plan was developed over the last 2 years, 2024, 2026. It was looking at how to improve safe routes in 11 schools in the unincorporated area of our county. 66% of the residents identify as Latino, and 40% of the students are English language learners. And this goes to the point of the whole purpose of participatory budgeting, allowing unrepresented community members to really get involved, to have and say on how to make improvements in their community. The picture you're looking at is just a small representation of the people who actually, community members who serve. Some of them are here in the room with us today. We thank you for being here and recognize you for being here. This is a photo. Go ahead. And so the group met, and you will see that our board member, Garcia, is participating as a facilitator here in this photo. But the group gets together, right? They identify what the problems are, what their concerns are, and then try to figure out how do we collectively come together to identify projects and programs that we think our community deserves to know about and then be able to vote about and have a say on, okay, let's fund these projects in our city and let's make this happen like in the next 2 years, not 5, 10 years from now, but something that can be implemented in a really, really short time. So go ahead, Maria. This is just some photos that you'll see of them working together, identifying projects. You see that the papers, go back for just a second, Maria. You see that there are papers on that table. So they're like identifying projects, coming up with ideas, and collectively coming to a decision. All right, go ahead. And then there was a pilot project where they said, okay, well, let's figure out if there's something that we can pilot and get people to encourage them to come out and test it and see what this feels like. Do that make it feel safer? Is this something that you can get behind? So that's what this photo represents. And then it was time to let the community know, hey, we've got all these projects. Let's get out and vote. So you'll see that banners were put up all across town. And people were then encouraged to go ahead and the community outreach. This committee committed to reaching out to their fellow community members, tell them about the election, tell them about what the projects were, and then encouraging them to vote. And that's what you see reflected here and here, and the next one. And then, surprise, surprise, they then said, all right, we own this. Let's take it and let's present it to the government officials, to the bodies that can make decisions and approve the funding. So what you see here are photos representing them presenting to the North County, Monterey County School Board, because some of the projects are along their property. And they present it to most of you who are on this panel today because they came before the Board of Supervisors to present to you as well. All of their projects got approved. Maria, if you can go to the next slide, please. So here's what happened. 84 steering committees, 46% monolingual Spanish speakers, 999 ballots were submitted, 55% of them in Spanish, 74% were paper ballots. And in the end, 5 proposals, 32 projects got approved by both of those boards. Ultimately, that funding request then came to the TAMC board last October, which you approved. Go ahead. And so you heard some of the feedback from the community members that spoke this morning, but I wanted to share what the project learned. So what they heard from this group was the process provided insight into the public process and taught them how to effectively advocate, which I think is reflected for the fact that they're here today. It facilitated resident support groups to help navigate the process. It gave the committee members the tools to get their neighbors involved, and it elevated the importance of street safety as quality of life. Change? And so for that reason, we want to recognize the groups, and there are several partners. Go ahead. All right, so let me identify who the partners are. Center for Community Advocacy, Ecology Action, Monterey County Health Department, Monterey County Public Works Facilities and Parks Department, and the North County Safe Routes to School Participatory Steering Committee, which are the community members. So what I'm going to do is, I'm not sure if there's representative from each group, but what I'd like to do is have each group come up. You're going to get your certificate. We're going to take a photo, and then we're going to give you the opportunity to speak if you would like to. So let's start with the first group. Maria, if you can change it. And it's Center for Community Advocacy. So representatives for Center for Community Advocacy, if you could come up, please.
You want to do it?
Right here. Yeah, thank you. Just scoot on in more that way.
Is there anyone from your group? Yes, please.
All right, so good morning.
Board of TAMC. My name is Joel Hernandez Laguna. I'm the Executive Director at the Center for Community Advocacy. I am very honored to be here with you today and receiving this recognition. This is really the effort of many of our leaders within the organization that were really active in this process. And our mission is really to, very simple, very important, is really to identify, cultivate, and recognize the leadership of farm worker families and low-income families and provide the opportunities for them to actually strive to have a better opportunity in their lives. And we think that safe routes to school is one of those. Every morning, many of the families have to take their kids to the schools. And I think it's a very important. So on behalf of the organization, the leaders, thank you for this recognition. It was hours and dedication to make this happen. And it's very important for us at the organization to make sure that leaders are at the forefront of when decision-making is happening. And so on behalf of the Center for Community Advocacy, thank you, and thank you for the recognition. Have a great day.
Thank you. Maria, change and Ecology Action. Is there anyone representing Ecology Action here today? Gino, he's not official. All right. We will get their certificate to them. Let's go on to the next group. Is there anyone from Monterey County Health Department here? Please come up.
All right, good morning. Vicente Lara, I'm a program manager overseeing our Office of Equity at the Monterey County Health Department. I work with our Office of Equity, and our team has been working with TAMC for many years now at this point. And we really have supported with the community engagement aspects of a lot of the TAMC projects. And participatory budgeting has been a really important process that we've supported and look forward to continue to participate in. As you heard, I think the most important piece about participatory budgeting is allowing residents to really be part of the decision-making process. It's also a pretty heavy lift, so thank you to all the partners, Gino for your facilitation, CCA, Ecology Action, TAMC, Supervisor Church's office for the North County work. It really was a big lift. And thank you to the steering committee for dedicating all the time that you put in. Not only did they participate in the 3-hour monthly meetings that we held, they also helped with outreach. They went out and talked to their neighbors about the project. They attended different events like the Dia del Niño, different school and district meetings. They also helped and participated as talent in some outreach videos that we did. Our meetings were held were trilingual. We had English, Spanish, and Mixteco to really make sure that we were representing the entire North County. And I think the most interesting piece is that we actually started, our initial plan was to do 3 steering committees in North County. And so we started in Castroville, and we started in May of 2024. In the first few meetings, folks in the committee advocated for us to not just do specific community steering committees. They wanted to see a committee that represented the entire North County area. And so moving forward, starting in August, we ended up hosting North County-wide meetings and moving the meetings to different locations throughout the process. And it was such an important change and pivot for us, because ultimately what they wanted to see, as you already heard, there was a recognition that there wasn't enough resources to address all of the challenges in North County. But they wanted to make sure that every community was represented in the conversation. And the fact that neighbors were speaking to different neighbors from different communities was so powerful. And they learned from each other. And ultimately, I think the 32 projects that were funded really represents the high priority areas. And so thank you. I just really want to thank the steering committee itself for bringing that direction and really advocating for not just the safety of children and families, but safety overall for the community of North County. So thank you, and I really appreciate all the support.
Thank you. And do we have anyone here from the Monterey County Public Works Facility and Parks Department? All right, if I don't see anybody, so we will continue from there. So go ahead. And let's bring up the stars of the show. The North County Safe Routes to School Participatory Budgeting Steering Committee. Come on up. Everybody, come on up.
Are we gonna have it backlit?
With their backs here.
Okay, you wanna come in? Sure.
We all
Yeah, and we can get more copies.
There could be one in Spanish and one in English.
Have a couple more.
Here, we need to move a couple people on the end. Thank you. Thanks, Vincent. Is there anyone that wants to speak on behalf of their, okay, I see a hand raised.
Hola, buenos días. Mi nombre es Adriana Molina, soy líder organizadora con Centro de Abogacía de la Comunidad y solamente quiero agradecer por todo el trabajo que hemos hecho a cada una de las personas que fueron parte de este comité. Gracias a Gino por su liderazgo, gracias a todos los compañeros porque nos apoyaron a esto. Pero algo muy importante para mí es reconocer que parte de todo este proyecto, lo que ayudó mucho aparte de hacer todo el trabajo que se hizo, es el liderazgo que se llevó en la comunidad. Creo que se pudo ver, se pudo dar a conocer que crecimos en liderazgo en la comunidad y de eso pues queda mucho trabajo que hacer. Muchas gracias.
Hello, my name is Adriana Molina and I'm with CCA. And I just want to thank everybody for all the work that they did, all the community, I want to thank Gino for his leadership, for all our peers that worked on this project. And one of the things that really helped is the community involvement. We were able to hear the community voices and improve their leadership. And there's still a lot more to do, but we were able to conclude this project.
I'm Ana Luz Acevedo Cabrera. I grew up in Castroville, went to all the schools in the district. So this means a lot to the community that we were able to participate in something like this and that we were able to collaborate across so many different little communities that North County represents to put this together. It was a really amazing experience. I really hope that other departments are able to make this happen for the community because that really gets the insight and the depths that the community has to offer. Sometimes it's not, something that's widely available to get as it is when you are on the front lines, when you're working with the neighbors and they bring up the real issues that happen behind the scenes. So I think this is super valuable and I hope we do it more often. And we did come up with a really long list of everything that needs to be done. So there is 32 projects that we were selected in collaboration with the community, but if there's ever a backlog of things that need to be done, we definitely came up with a long list. So if you ever have any extra budget, consider our long list. So thank you guys very much and thank you for the support.
Hello, good morning. My name is Rachel Torres from the community of Castroville. Been there many years. I moved away for 17 years and lived in Southern California. Came back home and there's no place like home. And once I came back, I said, I'm going to get involved. and I appreciate everything that you do here. It is such hard work. I didn't realize, like, there's so many times I wanted to quit. My sister said, no, we're gonna keep going. I'm like, 3-hour meetings, but we're going over the same stuff over and over. It's like, I have much respect for all of you that are involved in all these communities. I really appreciate it. But I love my little town, and I'm very proud to be from there. My parents, our family's been there since like 1926. So like I'm rooted, and thank you for making changes there too in Monterey County. So I appreciate it. And I think it's important that we all work together. I probably never would have worked. Also work at North Monterey County High School, so I recognize a lot of parents here, and very proud of the community working together. You're always very much involved, and I appreciate that. Diana Jimenez, of course, no se diga mucho, a lot of work, hard work. So thank you, and I hope that we all need to encourage our community to keep getting involved. And let's care about our community, not just Castro, not just North Monterey County, but our whole area. Let's fight for our community again. Let's bring it back to what we knew and what we grew up with. Just thank you. I'm very proud to be part of this community and hope to continue to work.
Thank you. And so we'll go on to our last award, which is a project award. But first, again, congratulations to everyone on this project. All right, the next project, the award is for the Barden Road Safe Routes to School Improvement Projects. Go ahead. So this project was really a road reconfiguration. It was to make safety enhancements along the Barden Road corridor to improve vehicle, pedestrian, and bicycle access to Barden Elementary School. Ultimately, it also was designed to enhance the broader transportation network by better integrating the corridor with the neighborhoods, the surrounding neighborhoods, the schools, and community destinations. So the first picture on the top you see is drone footage of what the Barden Road looked like before this project went into effect. The photo on the bottom gives you kind of the ground's eye view of the conditions, and you can see it's pretty bad, right? So that was the goal of this project, and this is what it looked like. Next slide. And this is a video drone footage. Maria, if you can just hit it, it should play. And this is what the safety concerns are. It's going to illustrate a number of things occur, and you watch the white, you see the center of that. So what happens? People are making left turns. People are making illegal U-turns. And if you noticed, I don't know when that video started, did you see that the kids were walking in that crosswalk to get across to the school? All right. Some more illegal U-turns are about to happen in this video. Watch, all right? And then there's one more I want you to see before we move on. Watch this red truck. That's all right in front of the elementary school. This is people when they're dropping their kids off, and kids are trying to get to school, people are trying to get to work. See how crazy that is? All right, you can go on to the next slide. All right, so that was to address all of that. These are photos of the construction. I just want to show you some of them so you get a view of that. Next slide. Again, construction photos, and you can see it's right up against the ag fields there in the neighborhood. Next slide. This is what it looks like when it was nearing completion. You can see what a transformation that made already. Okay, next slide. Grounds view, this is what the improvements look like. You see the roundabout, you see the school safety crossing, you see the crosswalk markings, you see a bike lane, you see the reduced lane miles, shortening the corridor to make it safer. So these are some of the enhancements of that project. Next slide. And then if you can play this is what it looks like now when people are picking up their kids from school. All right, so you see there's a dedicated lane there for the cars at the school. That's in the left of your screen. You see the roundabout in action. You see how much safer this is than what you looked at in that first video that we saw. So this is the improvement, the Barden Road Safety Improvements Project, Safe Routes to School project. Next slide. So the partners on this project were the City of Salinas, Kimley Horn Associates, M&S Engineers, and the Don Chapin Company. So today we want to recognize all of them, and I'm not sure if we have representatives from each of them, but we're going to call them up. We want to recognize them for this project. Job well done. And so let's start with the City of Salinas. Is there anyone from the City of Salinas who is here? Please come up. You can go ahead and change the slide, Maria. Maria, advance the slide. You're welcome to make comments if you'd like.
Hi, my name is Maria Contreras with the City of Salinas Public Works Department. This project has been a commitment to the city and its residents since all efforts began since 2016, and we eventually started construction in early in 2020. And finally, October 2023, we had a completed project. We appreciate all the collaboration with Kimley Horn and Associates and M&S, our construction management team and consultant, and also the Don Chapin. It's a commitment from everyone, collaboration, and this included a lot of coordination also with the LSI Union School District and also Hartnell College, who are within the vicinity of the project area. Thank you.
Thank you. Next slide. Kimley Horn Associates. I see a couple people. Come on up.
Cool.
1, 2, 3.
Would you like to make a comment? You're more than welcome.
Yeah, thank you. I just want to say it was an absolute pleasure working with the city on this project and even some of the crazy ideas that we came up with. This isn't how the project started out, but we looked for opportunities to reuse surface, some of the abandoned street areas that were going to be remaining and working with the school district. And it was a great opportunity to really revitalize the area. And I just want to let the members know, or let the board know, and TAMC, that this is a project that we're proud of. We advertise it across what can be done in front of schools, how to improve safety for vehicles, pedestrians, for the kids. Roundabouts are a great opportunity to provide those improvements in front of schools. Like I said, we do this across the region. We use this project as an example across the state and even across the country as an example of what can be done. So this project does live beyond just this community. When we do successful projects like this, there is a reference back to this as one of the projects that can be done and provide tremendous benefits. So thank you.
Thank you. Next, Maria. Anyone from M&S Engineers here? No? Okay. And next slide. What about the Don Chapin Company? Okay. So we'll make sure that we get their certificates to them. Thank you. You can go ahead and advance the slide, Maria. And so again, we want to congratulate the City of Salinas, Kimberly Horn Associates, M&S Engineers, and the Don Chapin Company for this 2025 Transportation Excellence Awards. And now we get to the part where we get to recognize TAMC employees for their service. And so we're going to ask Eloise Rodriguez to come up because we are recognizing her for 25 years of service as an employee of the Transportation Agency for Monterey County.
Just so we can get out of the elevator pool right here.
All right, Eloise, I'm putting you on the spot. Is there anything you want to say about 25 years at TAMC?
No, but it's been a journey and I'm looking forward to a few more years. And probably that's it. And I've seen a lot of people come and go. Yeah.
All right, thank you. Next slide. All right, so with that, I just want to say congratulations to all of the honorees. For those who were not here in person, particularly for the ones who are here in person, we thank you, we congratulate you. And I want to put out a challenge. So if you can go to the next slide, because the 25th anniversary of presenting these certificates and these awards is going to happen next January 27th during the board meeting. I want to challenge every single board member that's sitting up here, staff members, the audience, participants, those of you who are online, keep in mind and think about, are there some projects, are there some programs, are there some activities that are going on that can help improve our transportation network? Kind of like what you saw today. And if there is, I ask you to look out for the nominations, that you will get the call to nominate somebody in October of next year so that we can present them, if they're selected, for an award next year on January 27th. So with that, Chair, that's the end of the Transportation Excellence Awards.
Thank you, Teresa. And let me just open it up to the board first for comments because we heard a lot of excellent things here. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. A couple things I want to mention here. First one's going to be just for James Herrera. Journalism is in pretty bad shape these days. James Herrera's done a great job. My wife used to work in the newsroom over there with him when the Herald had a newsroom. I don't know what they have now. And, she always speaks really highly of James, and I just don't know of anybody who really, deserves this better than him. He's been really consistent voice and putting information out to the public. The other thing I want to do is I just, want to really point out the Safe Routes to School program. Everybody from North County that was involved into this. This is the kind of thing I'm arguing for and supportive for from the very beginning. It's really similar to what the county did in the Pajaro floods when we had $20 million come in. We went out, had a dozen community meetings, got the community engaged, let them come up with projects, let them vote on the projects, let them have decisions on how money to be spent. And this is just like a follow-up to that. I mean, all of you who were involved into there, congratulations to you. You're communicating into to the community. You're participating. It's democracy at its finest. I was able to go to a couple of meetings onto there. My staff went to quite a few more. For some reason, every time you had a meeting, I was having a town hall that same day. And so it was quite a conflict there. But I know the good work that you guys were doing. And I'm just looking forward, for TAMC as an organization to continue on with this. And I'm hoping now that you've had a taste on how you can impact, that you will continue as well too. One of the things that we have identified over time is that around Echo Valley School and that real bad situation there. And I'm hoping that's something in the next few years, as I've had some discussions with the school district and and Public Works of being able to try to create a turn lane in there so we can start to reduce some of that danger there, which kept highlighted in my mind as well as watching this whole Barden Road issue up there. But again, thank you for everything that you folks did. You just did a great job. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Please go ahead.
Sí, gracias por venir hoy. Es muy importante verte aquí. No es fácil para ustedes venir aquí y por eso gracias. Y también gracias por ayudando a la comunidad. Just said thank you for being here today and thank you for helping.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, please go ahead.
I'll be brief and just once again thank the community for being here. I think it's really important that we all recognize it's not just the process and the outcomes that we highlighted today, but the fact that the kids in our community are watching their parents and grandparents participate and be part of the solutions rather than just sitting at home and saying, I wish someone would. you are doing. And that is the important piece. It's going to reverberate through that community for a long time to come. So thank you for being willing to engage and lead on this process. And to the city of Salinas and that big project at Barden, there was a former teacher from Barden who reached out to me repeatedly on this to the point that it got so annoying that during the last census, we actually gave up that area. I gave it to Supervisor Alejo, so I didn't have to deal with that constituent. Just kidding. That former teacher was former Supervisor Simon Salinas, who rode all of us until this got done. So, including even calling Don Chapin during COVID and saying, you started the project, finish the project. But really, that is such a huge and critical highlight, not just for the Barden School. Since this project took off, we built additional farm worker housing in that very area. And now you see an even flow. That project made it possible to build the housing our community deserves and needs in the same area. So just when you solve one issue, you can potentially solve many, and that's what that very project did. So congratulations to all the award winners today. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Yes, go ahead.
Thank you, and congratulations to all the awardees. I could speak all day and share accolades about the participatory budgeting committee and all that effort. This item is very close to my heart. But I also wanted to share part of how this came to be. At least from my context, I joined the partnership right around 2016, 2017, so about a decade ago. But it was during a time, and I still hear these conversations when organizations, when the item comes up around community engagement, there's always that challenge around funding. Oh, we don't have the money to go out to do this extensive campaign for community outreach. And I think, and the point that I want to elevate is that it took folks who work in the various agencies that were mentioned, TAMC, Health Department, Ecology Action, communities, community members, CBOs. It took just that conversation to say, there's an opportunity here to change the way that we do things. And it's not a matter of there not being funding available. Let's find it. Let's just reallocate, rethink the way that we budget these processes so that community can get involved. So I want to highlight the efforts also of Ariana that was very instrumental in setting up those spaces for those conversations. Krista was with the health department at the time, Krista Hani, and then Carmen Gill. They all were part of those conversations, folks at Ecology Action, and of course, Vicente's leadership with those changes at the health department really drove that point home where we really need to make sure that we're looking at funding mechanisms differently so that we prioritize the input of our community. So thank you so much.
Appreciate it. Anyone else in the room wish to make a comment? Is there anybody online? If not, I would like to thank on behalf of all of us. You've heard a lot of good things, and we appreciate. I think ultimately what I see here is that most of the time the board looks at Excel documents, budget items, and so on. And today we are actually seeing the people. And ultimately, that's what I want to recognize is this is ultimately about a person who's reporting about community stories. Some people behind the scenes, volunteers, parents who are committing their time to make things happen and are participating in the budget process, et cetera. So kudos to all of you who are here, who are behind the scenes working on this. And I thank the TAMC staff to allow us to have the community involved in such an effort and bringing things to fruition. So, and I actually applaud all those guys who are advocating for more projects because that's how things happen. So please continue to do the good work. Thank you. And so with that, we'll close this item out, section number 6. Thank you again for everybody who is coming here, and we'll move on to item number 7. And so this is unmet transit needs public hearing. And we have Aaron.
I'll be brief on this one, but good morning, Chair and members of the board. My name is Aaron Hernandez, Transportation Planner with the agency. This morning, I'm going to provide you an overview of the unmet transit needs process and then request that we open the public hearing. The unmet transit needs process is required by the State Transportation Development Act under the Local Transportation Fund, which allocates 1/4 cent of the general sales tax that is collected statewide and comes back to the county on a population basis to support public transit services. Here in Monterey County, we have Monterey Salinas Transit, MST, which provides public transit services to all the cities in our county. Most of this money goes back to MST for transit services, and a small portion goes back to the transportation agency for transportation planning and as well as bicycle and pedestrian projects. As a requirement for using these funds, we generally have 2 public hearings. This year, we actually have 3 per year to identify any transit needs that are not currently being met. We will have this morning's hearing. There's another planned hearing that will take place in the Greenfield City Council meeting on March 24th, and then the MST Mobility Advisory Committee on March 25th. The public comment period for the unmet transit needs process is open until April 16th, and comments can be submitted during the hearings or in writing via email, by phone, or through our agency's website. Once the public comment period closes, staff will gather a list of all the comments received and determine whether MST can meet these needs through schedule adjustments or if they are a longer-term need that requires additional grant funding. A running list of past year's unmet transit needs and their status for each is posted on the Transportation Agency website. So that concludes my brief presentation, and happy to answer any questions from the board before the chair opens the public hearing to accept comments from the public.
Sure. Thank you, Aaron. Any comments or questions from the board? Yes, go ahead.
So I believe I did look at the document that was, I don't have it in front of me, but that was the unmet transit needs. There was a criteria document. What's the document you just referred to?
Oh, yes. So on the staff report is the criteria definition. So what would constitute as an unmet transit need? On our website, we do have posted a list of past needs that were addressed by the board and the public. So that one's on our TAMC website, and I could follow up and share that list as well.
Okay, so my apologies. I'm asking questions without having seen that document. But I do want to just ask a couple questions in terms of whether or not this would be appropriate time to just identify a couple unmet needs that I see as a county supervisor.
Yeah.
Oh, is that appropriate? Fabulous. Okay, so in regards to how the board is comprised, one of the reasons why I'm gonna make these comments is I see that for MST, it's representatives from cities. And so we don't necessarily have representatives from unincorporated Monterey County weighing in on transit needs. I know we do have a supervisor that sits on MST, but in this case, it's a supervisor whose district is largely an incorporated jurisdiction. And so whether or not it's correlated, I have 2 parts of my district that are largely rural, that one is served by the line 24, and the second portion of the district no longer has service. And I believe that was the 22 that was to Big Sur and back and no longer has service. And so in regards to the line 24, I have heard from constituents who are at the bus stop and the bus passes them by. And this has also happened to one of my children on at least 2 occasions where the bus just passes them by. And I think it's a matter of not being able to see them at the bus stop, especially after dark. And so in terms of an unmet transit need, if there is on that list or has been any identification of a need for some sort of lighting
at bus stops, so the driver can actually see that there's a passenger waiting at the bus stop. So that's one, and that's specific to the line 24. And then in regards to the line 22 that's no longer in service, you know, we have a real issue of many visitors coming to the area, visiting the coast and wanting to see certain parts of the Big Sur coast. And that line, I'm not sure what the ridership was when it was discontinued in 2021, but in the future, if there's a way to get visitors as well as commuters, you know, to and from locations along the coast via the bus versus their cars, that would be something that I think we would want to promote. So just, you know, a future reconsideration of that line that has been discontinued would be something I would be interested in, you know, having as a long-term transit improvement. Obviously not going to happen in the next year, but something I would just want to make sure is on the list. Thank you.
Just a quick follow-up, Kate. Could you clarify for line 24, do you know the exact location of the bus stop?
Every single one of them.
Okay. So all lines.
That I've gotten calls about, yes.
Thank you for sharing that. Any other thoughts or comments? And Aaron, I saw on the website that you can, and anybody from the public can actually request something that was just just requested, and that comes to you. So for my benefit, like, do we collect all these requests and review the same year, or is it tabled for the following year?
Yes, so right now, the public comment period, which goes from now to from April 16th, we collect all the requested comments that are submitted in this period. We also look back at the past unmet needs that still haven't been addressed as well, and we review that list with MST and other potential partners or jurisdictions who might be able to answer some of those unmet needs.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any, it seems like we don't have any other further board comments. Any comments from the public then? Oh, I'm opening up the public hearing.
Oh, yes.
Go ahead. Anybody from the public wishing to comment? Anybody in the room? I don't see anyone, so I'll close the public hearing. Do we need a motion on this, or?
So, Mr. Chair, can I just,
go ahead.
a couple things I wanted to highlight. And one, Michelle's already well aware of over at MST, but it was bringing service back to Bradley. We're working on that together due to road conditions. The road department within the county public works is making sure those issues get remedied so we can restart that bus line. The other that I don't know fits exactly in this box, but it's just one thing I want to highlight from my conversation with community since we've upped the amount of circulators in our South County cities is just sidewalk conditions. And it's one of those things that together, as we look at these systems and go to circulators, I'm hearing more from our seniors about concerns about sidewalks because they've got to walk to those circulator pickups and they're more worried about what a fall could implicate for them and their health long term. And so it's just something I've heard repeatedly, regardless of which city I'm in South County, and want to highlight that as a potentially, I don't know how that dovetails into this, but that is part of the transportation system if we're going to rely on circulators within these towns and wanting to make sure that we maximize the amount of dollars that can flow to our cities to improve and fix sidewalks within town so that that transportation, especially for our seniors where a fall could be essentially life ending in the sense of changing their way of life for their future forever would be a great way to look at that context for an opportunity to make investments in that infrastructure that improve walkability and then access to the larger system of transportation throughout the valley. Thank you.
Thank you. So barring any additional comments here, I'm going to close this item and move on to the next one, which is item number 8, Christina authorizing the ED to begin discussions with Caltrans and the King City to fund and implement the King City Multimodal Transportation Center.
Good morning. Can you hear me? Christina Watson, Director of Planning for TAMC, and I am here to just ask for this board's approval of an action to authorize the executive director to begin discussions with Caltrans in King City regarding the transfer of the funding and implementation for the King City Multimodal Transportation Center to TAMC. The King City City Council met last night to discuss this and voted unanimously in favor. And we have both the council member, De Leon, thank you. Councilmember De Leon is online, as well as King City's planning manager, Doreen Liberto, to answer any questions that the board may have about the project and the status of it and the transfer of it to TAMC. If the board has any questions.
Okay, any questions or comments from the board? Go ahead.
Two concerns, I guess for Christina and Todd. First, I'd like to understand what the risks are to TAMC from taking on the responsibility of managing these projects. So let me take a step back. First, the cost to TAMC, to make sure that TAMC's costs are covered. I don't know if you know how the reimbursement works between the King City staff time and the projects, and wanted to make sure that our staff time would be covered. As we assume those projects, whether that comes from, I assume that would come from the budget of the individual projects. And the second would be, there's always risk of overruns and whatnot. And I assume right now that that risk is either borne by the funding mechanisms or by the city of King. And I would like to understand before months from now, before we enter into an agreement with the city, what sort of risk TAMC is at, as by taking over these projects.
Well, so my staff report does list the funding that has been allocated, awarded, and/or programmed to the project, and all of those different funding sources do have some amount that is allowed to be used for the administration of the project, which would be TAMC staff time or consultant time to work on the project. The City of King has already contracted for the design of the project through RailPros, and they're at 30% in the Union Pacific design process. So that is fairly far along. For example, our Salinas Rail project is only just getting to 30% now. So they've made some good progress. And as in terms of future risks, Todd, do you want to handle that question?
Sure, thank you. So this is essentially the same. This would be TAMC taking on the project in King City, which is essentially the same as our rail project that's an extension of service to Salinas, with the Salinas station improvements and the Gilroy station improvements, and then the Pajaro station that we're also working on. So this would be a fourth rail project for TAMC staff to be leading, the agency to be leading. And all of those projects, like all of our regional projects, will go up in cost, and most likely we'll be having to get additional funds for it to deliver them. This project will have, is already in multiple phases where only the first phase is funded. And so like all TAMC projects, we manage that to the best of our ability and pursue grants to secure the remaining funds to deliver the project. We do charge staff time towards the grants that are received to deliver the phases as they're funded. So that's how we would plan. That's how we would fund our efforts on this.
Clarification question. So you said phase one is funded. If I recall, there were maybe 3 phases. And so is the request that TAMC takes over every phase of this project or moves forward with just the phase one activities?
We would take over the whole project, and really the additional phases are a lot of it is still dependent on what Union Pacific is required for the development of the train station there. So that still has to be negotiated, but we would be taking the project on from here on forward.
So Director Barron asked about risk. Could you speak a little bit to benefits both to the agency and to our overall rail approach?
So it's the same risk that all of our large regional projects have as far as the ability to fund and deliver them. So it's not a different type of risk. It's one we already handle for a whole host of projects. And as far as its regional impact, it would be the only access to train service in south of Salinas. So initially, it would be for the Coast Starlight service to be able to stop in King City. That service runs from Seattle down to Los Angeles and currently only stops in Salinas in Monterey County. And eventually, the state rail plan has additional service that goes from San Jose down through Monterey County to San Luis Obispo. So it would be an opportunity for those additional trains to stop in King City as well as stop in Salinas and Pajaro and eventually Castroville is the plan. Soledad is also on the list, but that's essentially hasn't even started any work on it yet, so that's very long-term. But we're trying to expand the access to rail throughout Monterey County, connecting both north and south.
Yeah, I just want to highlight that this is obviously a key part of the vision for the city of King City and their future growth as they look at the role that they're going to play as a regional hub for a potential railway station. It really matters not just for the city, but for all of Southern Monterey County that we continue this work. Part of this has also been the key impact that we've had from Fort Hunter Liggett and the amount of training that's gone on at that installation. The vision of bringing connecting to the station in San Jose is to have that service line come down, and obviously having that many people dropped off in the downtown area will have a positive impact on their local economy, but also on the regional economy as it continues to grow as a training hub with major investments from the federal government in the housing facilities for training soldiers at that installation. And so this dovetails well into the plans, and I want to just highlight that the City of King, this council 5-0 last night was their vote. I saw Christina on that in their short meeting. It was only 20 minutes long, but just want to highlight that this work happened because they had a vision for themselves, got behind it, and got it to this point. Traditionally, a station like getting to this point would have taken an agency like TAMC's taking it from the beginning to get here. So I want to congratulate Doreen and Councilmember De Leon, as well as Mayor Labar, who's not with us today because he's in Sacramento doing some advocacy work. But this getting to this point is critical. And as we move forward and look at the future of the economy of Southern Monterey County, we recognize that this could be also key for potential future commuters, having a place to drop off and get to perhaps higher paying jobs in the Bay Area. And so just all those visions that they've had about promoting their community and how it will grow and become a bigger part of the regional conversation is embedded in this very action we're about to take. So thank you so much for being willing to take this on and for your advocacy to get us to this point, and look forward to the continued partnership.
Thank you. Any other comments or thoughts? Yes, go ahead.
So I have a question that I'm sorry, I cannot get it through my thick head in terms of the rail program. So ultimately, right now, originally, the initial service will be the Coast Starlight. The Pajaro station, the Salinas station is all part of that, or is Pajaro, and we've got intercity and we've got commuter. The Pajaro and the Gilroy, are those just commuter rail Caltrain, or do they connect to this same line?
Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry. Arm wrestle. The Coast Starlet is the train we have today.
Yes.
So that was already serving Salinas and would serve Pajaro when it came online, according to our Amtrak representatives and also King City.
Okay, great.
So that's the near term, is the service that's already out there. The next train is one that Caltrans is negotiating with Capital Corridor to run a near-term midday service from San Jose to Salinas, which would then, in the big vision scenario that this board adopted in 2021 called the Network Integration Study, that would become 4 round trips to San Luis Obispo in the big vision. And in the state rail plan, and that would serve King City. So that would be then 5 trains serving King City at that point in the process. The Salinas and Pajaro stations would also be served by Caltrain, extending down to Salinas through the Kickstart project that we've been working on for a while.
that folks from King City heading north could have access to as well because of
They
this.
could pick up the train in Salinas, or they could take a connector on either MST or the intercity train from King City to Salinas and then switch over to Caltrain.
Okay, and then just in terms of a bit of history, and this is neither here nor there, but a large portion of my district before the highway was built were served by this train station and this line. And I think it's at San Lorenzo Park where you can see an old train table and look at how many trains used to go through King City, the original station. And it's just, one for the history books, but folks came from Big Sur, either by foot or by horseback, over the hills to get to this station. And this was where folks commuted to San Francisco or to Los Angeles multiple times a day from this station. And so, but if this is going to improve the ability for our county to get this train station built, then I am supportive, as I am as supportive of all of the rail projects that we are currently heading, and we just need to get them done. It's the future and we must finish these projects. So thank you.
Thank you. Any other thoughts? Go ahead.
I'm supportive of this. We've been working on this for a while, and I was just going to add, this is important, like you said, Supervisor Daniels. This is important for the whole county, right? Because all we need, the people in Peninsula, all we need to do is find a way to get to Salinas, right? And eventually we can go up north to San Francisco and hopefully, 25 years from now, go down to LA. But what we don't want to do is bypass King City, right? So we want to stop in King City, and this is part of it. And I think this is the proper time for agency like TAMC, the county agency, to take hold of it and just drive it through, so to speak, through that stop. So I think it's appropriate we take over.
Okay, I'm hearing overall support. Any other comments? Anybody online? Are there any public comments on this item? None from the room. I don't see any hands online, so we'll bring it back to for a vote here.
I'll move staff recommendation.
All right, thank you. Okay, we have a first and a second. Did you guys have that? So second is Delgado. But can you have a roll call vote, please?
District 1, alternate Gonzalez.
She had to step out. It says alternate Gomez. 5.
District 2, Supervisor Church. District 3, Supervisor Lopez. District 4, alternate Anderson. Yes. District 5, Supervisor Daniels.
Aye.
City of Carmel by the Sea.
Yes.
City of Delray Oaks.
Yes.
City of Gonzales.
Yes.
Pardon? Okay, thank you. City of Greenfield.
Yeah.
City of Marina.
Yes.
City of King City.
Yes.
City of Monterey.
Yes.
City of Pacific Grove.
Aye.
City of Salinas.
Yes.
City of Sand City.
Yes.
City of Seaside. Chair, the motion passes.
Thank you. We'll then move on to the next item, which is approving an update to the agency position control list. Jeff, guys.
Yes, it's still morning. Good morning, Jeff Geis, Director of Finance and Administration. As part of our annual budget process, we have a position control list. And the staff report includes a snapshot of that, which for this agenda item proposes increasing our planner headcount by 1 to accommodate our current level of activity, as well as the King City project. And this planner position, like all of our planner positions, would have the 90+% of their time be charged directly to the funding sources associated with the work they do. And the balance of that time gets rolled into our overhead indirect cost allocation. So this item is paid for in the current fiscal year, which runs through June 30th, through funds that remain in the balance of our salary and benefit costs. We're running under budget by about just under $160,000. And if we were to hire someone April 1st, we'd spend about a quarter of that on their salary through the balance of this fiscal year. And I do have this position included in the draft budget. So I'm just here requesting approval to add the position. Any questions?
Thank you, Jeff. Anything else to add? That'd be good.
Just that this position would help us with our rail program and augment this current staff effort towards the rail, and picking up this additional project was part of the motivation to bring this forward now versus just waiting until the adoption of next year's budget.
Thank you. I think it dovetails really well with the item that we just discussed. So this is just lowering the risk of TAMC staff. But any comments or thoughts from the board? I don't see anyone expressing anything here. Anybody online? Do we have any public comment? I do not see any hands. We'll bring it back to, I think we need a motion on this. Anybody wishing to make a motion?
Urban will make a motion.
Okay, we got, did you guys catch that? Okay, let's have a roll call vote, please. Thanks.
District 1, alternate Gomez.
Aye.
District 2, I'm sorry. District 3, Supervisor Lopez. District 4, alternate Anderson. District 5, Supervisor Daniels. Does she step up? Yeah, okay. City of Carmel by the Sea. They left too. Okay. City of Delray Oaks.
Yes.
City of Greenfield.
Yes.
City of King City.
Yes.
City of Marina.
Yes.
City of Monterey.
Yes.
City of Pacific Grove.
Aye.
City of Salinas.
Yes.
City of Sand City. Yes. City of Seaside. Chair, the motion passes.
Thank you. We're not done yet. There is still one item. So item number 10, draft overall work program budget and integrated funding strategy. Jeff and Mike.
Oh,
Yes,
okay.
thank you. Still, good morning. Mike Zeller, I'm TMC's Director of Programming and Project Delivery. I'll be coordinating this presentation with Jeff to go over our budget and overall work program. There's three components that we'll be discussing today. The first is the overall work program, and this is the document the agency's required to prepare that describes all the tasks and deliverables that we'll be working on over the upcoming fiscal year. And it sets the basis for the annual budget. So it sets out all the work product that we'll be working on. The budget itself is obviously, it's a roadmap for the agency. It reflects the board's priorities. If you're looking at the limited funding that the agency has, this is where we're prioritizing our work efforts and where we're putting those finite resources. As I mentioned, it translates the overall work program into the dollars. It's a initial look at the next fiscal year, but then we also forecast the next 2 fiscal years out to make sure that we're trying to capture anything that might be coming up in the future. Finally, the integrated funding strategy. This is our 5-year funding and program delivery document that looks at our larger multi-year regional projects. This is identifies the schedule for our projects and a funding pathway. So it's not just funds that are currently committed, but also funds that we anticipate going after through different grants or other programs. These are typically funds that are dedicated specific to a project, so they don't typically show up in the budget. And as I mentioned, these are multi-year projects, so there'd be funds that carry over from year to year. So we show them in the funding strategy so it doesn't overinflate the budget. So just giving a few highlights of the projects that we have in the overall work program. We heard quite a bit today about the Vision Zero strategy. This will be a focus of the agency over the upcoming fiscal year, working on developing the safety action plans for all the jurisdictions of Monterey County that currently do not have one, allowing them to become eligible for federal Safe Streets for All funding, as well as other funding programs. As we mentioned, we'll have more information on this at the next board meeting when we discuss the overall draft regional plan. Another exciting initiative is that we'll be updating our active transportation plan, which was last developed in 2018. So this looks at all the bike and pedestrian projects throughout the county. We coordinate with all the local jurisdictions to update those projects. We'll also be incorporating this time around what's called a level of traffic stress. So looking at how comfortable different roadways are to use as a bicyclist. So if you're trying to get from point A to point B, would you rather go on a route that has high traffic volume and high speeds, or one that is more residential, lower speeds, fewer cars? You can get there in the still get from where you are to where you're trying to go. So this initiative will provide that type of information, that analysis, as well as some mapping that goes along with that. We'll also be working on our Highway 1 Elkhorn Slough Climate Resiliency Project. So we have a Caltrans planning grant and as well as some community legislative funds for this project. The work will be wrapped up this fiscal year. This looks at the impacts from climate change to transportation infrastructure in the Elkhorn Slough area, so Highway 1, as well as the rail corridor, identifying potential project alternatives, and then that'll help us to lead into the environmental review. In the integrated funding strategy, a few of the highlights of the projects in there, we have our Highway 156 Castroville Boulevard project. We just recently received $90.6 million in state funding for. This project is nearing being ready for construction. So we're anticipating going after our construction allocation with the California Transportation Commission in the next few months and getting that teed up to start construction. We have our US 101 South of Salinas project. We have a few different initiatives going on here with a near-term safety improvement project that looks like it'll be able to go to construction in 2027, as well as our phase 1 Chular segment, which looks at the improvements at Main Street in Chular. The project is going into the environmental phase. And we had just recently looking at teeing up certain federal and state grant funds for the design and the construction of the project. For the Fort Ord Regional Trail and Greenway, we currently have our Canyon Del Rey segment that's in construction, and that should be wrapping up later this year. We'll also have another segment, the California Avenue, that runs along California Avenue and connects at Imogen Road in Marina, that should be starting construction later this year. And then we're also working with the Federal Highways Administration on another segment, the Jerry Smith Trailhead, that connects from Imogen Road to the Jerry Smith Trailhead at Fort Ord National Monument. That's currently finalizing design and should be ready for construction in 2027. So a lot of exciting activity moving forward there. And then we heard quite a bit today about the different rail projects that the agency is working on. We have our Pajaro Station that is currently in environmental review, the King City Station project that we'll be taking on, and we have ongoing activities with our Salinas Rail project as well. So all those activities are outlined in the funding strategy. And with that, I will hand it off to Jeff to chat about the budget.
All right. On the numbers side of this, the agency has 6 trust funds that we administer, that all of our funding flows through. And obviously the funds that go through one particular fund are limited in what they can be used for, projects specific to those funds. Measure X is the largest, has grown to be the largest fund by quite some bit. Breaking down the funding sources by categorizing them in terms of where they're coming from, federal, state, local, and reserves.
There's not a lot of federal money that we're budgeting, and it is committed. The state has a host of acronyms that send us money. Local, the Regional Development Impact Fee, as well as Measure X are our local funds, and then SAFE rail leases and our unassigned reserves are available for projects as called upon. Our budget basically breaks down into operating and direct costs, operating staff time and benefits, materials, services, rent, and capital outlays. And then the direct program budget are really the contracts, contractors for projects we're working on that are part of the OWP and which we report out to Caltrans on. Highlights for the budget, there's about an 8.4% growth in planning funds. So there's continuing more projects coming online than those tailing off. As I mentioned earlier, 91% of planner time gets charged directly to their projects. The balance is in the indirect cost allocation. We're making the best estimate we can for years 2 and 3, but really focused on next year. And we just try and be as careful as we can with being accurate. And breaking down some of our operating expenses, the staff headcount item we just discussed is included in the budget. The cost of living adjustment, 2.8%, that's the Social Security rate. Some of the CPI data from the fall was delayed. And for the final budget, I anticipate surveying some of the other local public agencies and cities, seeing what CPI updates come along. But for now, that's kind of a placeholder at 2.8%. The ERP software, this is a super important project we're working on. We actually start demos next week. But the assessment by the firm that helped us in our evaluation required we increase the budget for implementation costs as well as the annual licensing costs. And so you can see those here where we've increased to $300,000 for implementation and up to $75,000 per year for maintenance and support. And finally, we're continuing to budget $4 million for our future office. And we're just using that until facts evolve to tell us to increase it or decrease it. Revenue assumptions, the things that grew, Mike kind of covered many of those projects, and some of the things that have wound down. We just awarded this North County Safe Routes to School folks, and so projects routinely wind off the books. And just from a standpoint of how much do we always get, the safe authority, service authority for freeways and emergencies, freeway service patrol, the branch line lease revenue. There's property we own in Salinas where we've got lease revenue, and Measure X includes a 1% admin allocation for us to charge time, admin time for Measure X related activities. Currently, our June 30, 24 audit is complete. We've got $11.5 million of unassigned fund balance for the agency. The $4 million for the building would come out of that. In this fiscal year, in the current budget, $1.5 million was approved by the board to pay down our unfunded pension liability. So that number, some of that number's been committed. In the June 30, 25 results, I anticipate reserves will have grown some from that year. So that audit is well underway and will be done in a matter of months. And then SAFE has its own fund balance of about $1.8 million. Just kind of looking at the big picture, operating funds are going to grow 8.4%. Direct activities going up 9.6%. For overall, we'll be at $10.6 million in total activities and revenue. Our operating revenues get broken down, federal, state, local, other sources like SAFE and leases and things I mentioned before. We do have interest income. You can see there we've got those million in reserves. The interest income number goes down actually because some of the SB 125 money has to be segregated, and its interest has to be restricted to its projects. So that breakdown hadn't taken place in the current fiscal year's budgeting process. Now we've got that. And this shows us adding to reserves. 259,000 is an addition to reserves. From an operating capital budget standpoint, you can see in this current fiscal year, we replaced one of the agency vehicles. We paid down our unfunded pension liabilities. I don't think any of the activities we've done this year would qualify as capital expenses, the $50,000 I've got there, but we did budget for it. And the TAMC office, we're just not quite sure what the construction schedule or office improvement schedule will look like, but we anticipate spending $4 million over the next couple of years to get us into an office. And then looking out a little bit, our budget for the operating side forecasts some growth in some of the existing contracts we've got. The auditor, for example, and some of the other service firms that have escalation in their contracts would increase some of our operating costs. There's a placeholder for COLA in there on the salary staff side. And direct programs, capital expenditures, and the various project activities, as I've talked about before. Let's see here, and direct program revenue. There's a little bit of federal money in our direct funding sources this year and next year. And for 26-27, you can see state revenue of a little over $3 million, 1.7 local money, 141,000 from RSTP. And that breaks down to 5.7 or so $1 million for next year's direct program budget. And we will request feedback from you today. And then the next step for us is to send the OWP off to Caltrans for their review. And we tighten up the numbers, look at the COLA, find out what projects changed, like the King City train station isn't in the draft budget. So things will change a little bit thanks to that. And in May, the executive committee will look at it and it'll come back to the board for final approval. So I'll leave it at the recommended action and open the floor to questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff and Mike, and good afternoon, everyone. But any comments or thoughts? Go ahead.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you. You mentioned Caltrans money and unfunded liabilities twice. Once it was inside the unassigned fund balance of 1.5 million.
Correct.
The second time was in the operating expenses capital budget. So is it in both places or only one place?
It's the same. I'm referring to the same balance as a capital expense.
Okay. So even though that 1.5 million is inside the operating expenses capital budget, you still call it unauthorized fund balance money?
Technically, GASB calls that balance unassigned fund balance.
Okay. So I bring that up because my general thought is that when I see unassigned fund balance with a large number, I think, darn, we should assign those monies to some purpose. So it doesn't look like we're sitting on money we don't really know what to do with. It brings up questions for me and probably for the public if they were to look into it. So you did mention the unassigned fund balance included 4 million for the TAMC building.
Mm-hmm.
So it'd be nice to like parenthesize, TAMC building, 4 million, and the rest of the 11 million. So we don't think that it's available for our favorite projects or unmet needs. It's not really available unassigned. It's kind of assigned, but maybe not formally so.
Right. I hear what you're saying, and I do agree. And actually, one of my to-dos for the next couple of months is to update our reserve policy, where we can identify how much of our reserves. Our reserve policy is that we keep at least 6 months worth of operating costs in reserves to fund operations. I'd argue, actually, we really ought to have 6 months of operating indirect because we write very large checks for those contractors and then have to bill Measure X or whatever grant to get the money back. So we need to float more than just payroll and rent. We need to float some of the project money. So yes, we'll have a new reserve policy that will break that out.
All right, and then one related detail, you had a vehicle replacement fund somewhere in your report. And I really like that because you plan how to pay for vehicles in the future by putting money away every year. And that's not unallocated fund balance, right? That's a vehicle replacement allocated fund.
Actually, we only have 2 vehicles, so we had a very old car that needed to be replaced. And so in this year's budget, we needed to buy a car. And we just said, we're going to take 45,000 of our unused reserves, unrestricted reserves, and use it for a car.
Right, so that was now out of the unallocated into the assigned. So I just wish that unallocated 11 million could come down as much as possible by saying, this is reserved for operating expenses, this is vehicle, this is CalPERS, et cetera, et cetera. So this is TAMC's new building, so it doesn't look unallocated, even though formally it might be.
I agree, and our new accounting system will allow us to be able to post encumbrances so that we can reflect that schedule of commitments.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. If I can make it more complicated, that sounds like constrained versus unconstrained kind of like items, but I'll leave it to you. Any other thoughts? I just wanted to at least call this out to the board that as it's part of the agenda packet, but I just wanted to again mention it that the TAMC office must be the TAMC office space, the lease does end by end of next year. So we are under like a timeline to get a new office. So I just wanted to call that out. Any other thoughts or comments? Otherwise, we'll bring this back to a motion here. And I'll move forward with the staff recommendation. Do you have a second? Okay, we have a first and a second. Go ahead.
District 1, alternate Gomez.
Aye.
District 3, Supervisor Lopez.
Aye.
District 4, alternate Anderson. District 5, Supervisor Daniels.
Aye.
City of Carmel by the Sea.
Yes.
City of Delray Oaks.
Yes.
City of Greenfield. City of King City.
Yes.
City of Marina. City of Monterey.
Yes.
City of Pacific Grove.
Aye.
City of Salinas.
Yes.
City of Sand City. Yes. City of Seaside. Chair, the motion passes.
Thank you. We'll move on to item number 11. This is the reports from transportation providers. Mr. Eads, thanks for hanging on through the morning with us. Go ahead.
My pleasure. Good morning, or good afternoon, sorry. Mr. Chair and members of the board, pleasure to be with you today. Again, Scott Eads, Caltrans District 5 District Director. Have a few items for you today. First, I just wanted to announce south of Salinas, the board had entertained a different delivery method and came to the conclusion that CMGC or construction manager, general contractor would be a favorable way to go for the south of Salinas project. And so that was a recommendation by your board that Caltrans took on to headquarters to our alternative delivery program, requested consideration, submitted a lot of paperwork in the process, and received approval. So as of the 3rd of this month, the chief engineer at Caltrans has given approval for us to proceed. So we're now working closely with TAMC staff on a RFQ, and then we'll be submitting that as soon as it's complete. So big achievement there, and we're happy about to see that moving forward. State Route 68, update on the adaptive signal control pilot. So the team has continued to work with our vendor, MyoVision, and has been coordinating very closely in the setup of that system. On the very positive side, they've been working very closely and have ended up with a complete setup. So it's now functioning. All the parts and pieces are working. The software has been integrated into the Caltrans systems and the controller cabinets. But there were some challenges along the way. So we ran into some delays in terms of setting up, getting their systems to work with ours. There was a lot of troubleshooting that needed to happen, hands-on attention from our electrical teams and technicians working with the vendors. And then, of course, there were some weather events along the way that we also had to navigate. So all that said, all the signals are currently operating, and the system will now begin a process of testing and refinement to bring it online. It'll be evaluating peak hour conditions and then off-peak conditions. Ultimately, once the system is refined and fully functional, then we'll do the after testing. So the focus here from our perspective is to work with the vendor to make sure that we capture the data that we need after the testing of the system and the refining of all that is done before school's out. We really want to have a good pre-summer data set that will be our after condition. And so that's our goal. We're working with MyoVision to sort of advance some of that testing process, make sure that their system is functioning the way they want it to function, but also recognize there's a bit of a time crunch here and a critical deadline for getting the results that we need. I'll pause for questions.
Director Eads, may I just ask one question?
Yes.
Just in terms of understanding what you just said, did you say that the software is installed?
The software needed to work with our controller cabinets.
Okay.
I probably shouldn't claim to fully understand it, but the MyoVision software and all the hardware that went along with it has to now work with our controller cabinets. So that setup in
Got
terms
it.
of all the different hardware components and software components are now working together. And now we can begin the testing phase and operational phase.
So just out of curiosity, when might, for just the human interest side of this, is it improving the situation? Is it not? When would you say the sort of start time is that folks can just start experiencing the adaptive signal control pilot?
I think you'll see a slow transition. I believe it's sometime next month. Right now, there's a little bit of the machine learning what's happening out there and starting to think about how to how to adapt that over time.
Yeah.
And so I think my understanding is, I shouldn't say I think, my understanding is that sometime next month, it'll start to adjust the timing and other systems will start to be adjusted slowly. So we shouldn't see any radical departures from what's there in the near term, but over time it will start to test different things out. And so there may be more green time allocated. And there is also, there's not only what the system is doing, but then we're changing the controls on the back end and letting it have more room to run, if you will. And there will probably be some, it's a learning process for the system and for our technicians that are working with MyoVision.
Yeah.
So there may be some disruption. We're hoping to minimize that, but the system, it will be testing different things out and see how it responds. And that's part of the learning, AI system adaptation process.
So this is merely anecdotal, but I was on the planning commission for 5 years, coming on to Salinas on Wednesday mornings at the exact same time as TAMC, which I've now been coming here for over a year now. And I was driving here this morning and I did call my chief of staff to say, this is the first time I've ever had the amount of traffic I've had at San Venancio and Corral de Tierra back up. And so it's just interesting that it coincides with this. I'm sure it's maybe just figuring itself out and doing exactly what you're saying, but it was noticeable that it was actually a different commute than I've had for over 6 years now, at the very same time coming to Salinas.
And there may be some of that in the
Yeah.
coming months
Yeah.
as the system.
I had no idea it was, if it is related, but I'm really glad to hear the update. I actually thought the installation was going to take much longer. So this is really good news that I will share with the constituents who reach out to me and ask about the timeline. So thank you so much.
Yeah.
Among many other things. Thank you.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
Okay.
Go ahead.
And among those other things.
Mr. Eads.
Oh,
we
go
have
ahead.
another
Sorry,
question.
another
Go
question.
ahead.
Just a quick follow-up with Kate, and then I had a question. You're saying that traffic was perhaps unrelated, but it was bad. Okay. Maybe it's due to the Carmel Valley Road, Las Torellas? No? Okay. All right. But my question is, Are you working with Caltrans? This is for Todd as well, of course, to reduce the amount of funding being spent on the roundabouts that's not necessary to be spent before we understand the adaptive contribution?
Yes, the answer to that is yes. We have diminished the amount of expenditures. There's tension here, right? Because we also are trying to target that project and be ready for grant funding for the next round of SB1. And so we are diminishing our expenditures with the understanding that, you know, the board would like to entertain the results of the adaptive signal control process. Right now, that expenditure reduction is pushing out the timeline where we would be ready for what we call the RTL, you know, for the ready to list process. So the end of design, basically, that's pushing out to the degree that we're continuing to diminish funding. So we're hoping to get going, you know, to go back up to the level of work that we were doing in June. But, you know, we understand that there's probably even then a little bit of the results will come in from the testing. They won't be probably publishing ready to come back to the board until July. And maybe even then it won't align with the board meeting. So we'll be working with Todd and staff in terms of when we can, you know, move back into full production mode. So we're not delaying the ability to compete for funds.
All right. Thank you very much, Scott. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. And if I may, sorry to belabor the point here, but there is a baseline of data, right? And then you're going to measure like maybe a year out from now how that's performing. That's how we'll understand whether AI is successful or the adaptive signals are successful or not. Correct?
Correct.
Okay, thank you. Please go ahead.
Okay. So next item, the Regent slide, Big Sur Highway 1. You probably noticed that it was closed for a short duration after it was opened for a short duration. So that's all storm related. When we opened on January 14th, it was with the understanding, and it, you know, hopefully we're trying to message it clearly that we're opening it right before potentially a storm season with some uncertainty in terms of what storms will come. So we had some big storms. Really, that's the normalizing of the slide. We did get geotech folks up there just to make sure that there were no underlying issues of concern with the way that the slide is functioning or the cleanup of the slide. And so we were just able to basically the mud that was still coming down the slope overtop the barriers that were there. We had to get in and clean out the drainage system and make sure and do some inspections to make sure everything was good. So it's back open again. We had some one-way signal control there for a little bit, but it's fully functional, 2 lanes in each direction now is my understanding. So good news there, and we'll just continue to address what we need to address as future storms come. And once we're through these storm seasons, my anticipation is that we'll be good to go at that location and shouldn't have any more closures, at least not through the summer. And then I guess that's actually, I mean, I will just mention quickly, Caltrans just released our 24-25 accomplishments report. If you're interested, you can find it online. Just gives you a flavor for all the different things that are happening statewide within Caltrans. And that concludes my report. Happy to take any questions.
Thank you. Any other questions? Go ahead.
Thanks. So it wasn't on your list, but it is something we're hearing a lot in our office, and we heard it today. It's related to the California Coastal Trail between City of Marina and Sand City and its current conditions. And we really do need, I want to say thank you to your staff who we've reached out to, and it's kind of interesting underlying jurisdictional responsibilities for maintaining that path. And at this point, the email address that people are being directed to submit requests for service really isn't sufficient to meet the need that our community has. We really need to get out there and have some substantive improvements made to that trail in the near term, since that is the way that we're asking people to traverse between those two areas on cycles, and would really appreciate your support in expediting that. The other thing that we're seeing is pedestrians and cyclists coming across the light fighter intersection to get onto the coastal trail, which is a real safety issue. And so we need some signage to let people know that pedestrians should not be on that pathway. And I think to TAMC, we need some interjurisdictional coordination through bike and ped because we need to better sign what is the alternative bike path that goes across these multiple jurisdictions if people aren't able to get onto the coastal trail and we know they can't get onto Beach Ring Road. This is a really serious issue that, you know, our constituents are going to be dealing with for in excess of 24 months, and we need some focused attention on it in the near term. I see my mayor looking at me, but.
I think what we need is for a Caltrans rep to meet with the underlying jurisdiction reps and create a punch list of repairs that are needed to make the only trail left available safe. And otherwise, there's too many people involved and nobody knows if that spot is Seaside or Caltrans or state parks. And so that spot's not going to get fixed until everyone understands who's supposed to fix it. But it's my understanding underlying jurisdiction is responsible for any given section of this rec trail that goes from Castroville to Pacific Grove. But it's the section between Marina and Sand City that's got the roughest spots. And now every other option has been precluded for people who can't use it. And so this is the only game left in town. And it's really been roughed up over the last, 10, 15 years. So do you think we could have that kind of meeting where we get a punch list with assigned jurisdictions?
Yeah.
We've had several discussions about this issue and the fact that the Beach Range Road was closed by state parks when they're doing their campground project really impacted the ability for the people to utilize the preferred route. And the Caltrans coastal trail segment between Seaside and Seaside and Marina is owned and operated by Caltrans, and we've been working with them on some maintenance improvements, but it certainly has more to go. MST, as far as the surf project, has been adding signage and putting both physical signs up and painting on the trail, giving people directional information. So if there's that was their first attempt to try to improve this, but the team is there to work to try to find better ways if possible. So I will work with Caltrans to coordinate that jurisdictional discussion to make sure that we have the specific locations identified and who's responsible for them.
Great. Yeah, will do.
If I could, sorry, I got so excited about the adaptive signal installation that I didn't ask the rest of my questions. And Mayor Delgado may have asked this question. I'm not sure because I was still thinking about the installation. But we have two emails that we got as public comment, a Mr. Barry Jones and Dwight Stump. And I'm just curious if we've been able to answer those questions or if we have a plan. I do hear these questions quite a lot, and I'd love to be able to sort of get to the bottom of them. And some of them are for Caltrans. And I'm looking at Mr. Stump's email regarding how much will Caltrans spend on the final design for phase one while we're evaluating the adaptive signal control. Another question regarding the SB1 grant cycle. We've explained to residents that it's important that we get into the SB1 grant cycle, that we file for these grants, and that if we end up not needing them, they can be reallocated to other projects in the county. But there is a question regarding what the next cycle is after this cycle. How often do we have the opportunity to apply for SB1 grants? And then there's a question regarding the hybrid 2-lane roundabout. My question is whether or not the roundabout design has changed for the projects on 68. And there is another question regarding a series of roundabouts. I feel like I can answer question number 4. I've experienced them, but perhaps you can answer question number 4. So if you have those, if you could just help us get through these questions because they're coming every single meeting and we need to answer them.
There is a lot of work happening on this project, both the adaptive signal control installation and the corridor project, which the environmental document was adopted, which included the hybrid alternatives and then the 3 locations which were identified as the first phase.
Yeah.
Multiple things are all happening at the same time and they interact and they affect each other. Mr. Stump's asking a lot of good questions, but we're not honestly ready to answer all the questions, and it may not be appropriate to answer all the questions right now. In some cases, we're working on getting the information together to answer the questions. Others, we're waiting for the results of the adaptive signal control and the results of cost benefit analysis of using the adaptive signals as the new baseline versus the anticipated costs for the roundabouts. And I honestly have not brought this back to the board because I don't want to repeat this every month, talking about something that the information could change as we do more of the analysis. So we are holding off to answer these questions in order to have a complete answer, and in order for the board to make a decision based on the full facts versus individual pieces. There are things like, when is the next SB1 cycle? SB1 has different programs within it. We're talking about one of the programs, which is congested corridors, which we are anticipating applying for. That application is due in November of 2026. Specifically, to be eligible for that, you have to have different phases of the project complete. The project has the environmental complete. They're working on design. That has to be done by, I believe, November 27. So there are deadlines that they can't slow down, they can't stop. And then if we don't get that grant, we're not likely to get a grant for the project for several years after that. So it is a cost to the delay, and then the cost associated with increased cost to construct the project over that longer period of time. So there are all these variables that we're working at and trying to assess how much we ask Caltrans to slow down on this while we're waiting for the other thing. And not knowing the results of each of the efforts until we have more information. So that's why we haven't had an item this month, and we were holding off on some of this discussion because we will be having quite a bit of information over the next 3-4 months that will all come back to the board to make some decisions.
So if I could just add then, that was a great answer, and that's very helpful. And as the supervisor for this district, like, this is one of the biggest traffic congestion locations that I need to solve while in office. Like, this is a high priority. There isn't another location in District 5 that has the sort of congestion that we have, in particular on the eastern side of Highway 68, and folks coming from Salinas and commuting to Monterey and then returning home the other direction in the afternoon, of course, on the western side. And so I don't want to see any delays. I don't want to see us miss any funding deadlines, because as we all know, funding is not guaranteed in the future. And so it's 100%, I think, acceptable to say why we're moving forward while we are waiting for some results from the testing of the adaptive signal control. I am more than happy to be the person that advocates for that process. I just think we need to communicate it so folks understand, because the questions aren't going to stop coming. And so let me be the one, to take the heat. I'm okay with that. But I think that kind of communication is really important. And I think we can answer some of these questions working together. And I'm here to work with both of you on that, because we need to move forward. And then also at the same time, thank you to the community who brought us this alternative for us to start collecting data on. And I'm really looking forward to that data. And so I think the more we can answer in an expeditious time manner, and I hear you, Todd, and why you're holding off, but it's fuel for the fire, and I want to just put the fire out. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Was there anything else, Mr. Eads? Okay. All right, we'll move on to the next provider. If they're still here, Mr. Miller from the airport, or anybody from the Monterey Peninsula Airport. We'll give it a second. Mr. Dino Pick, are you available?
Can you hear me?
Yes, yeah, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Hey, just the only thing I have for the group is progress continues on our terminal apace. The plan of financing is coming together, and we're very excited with the progress we're making. That's all I have for the group. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that. We'll go to the next one, which is MST. Is that Michelle?
Yes, hi everyone, Michelle Overmeyer.
Go ahead.
T's update. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. So we are in the process of replacing old bike racks on the buses. We'll have new 3-position bike racks that can accommodate the wider tires. So we're working through that on all the vehicles. We also have 13 new electric buses that will be going into service. So you'll be seeing those in Monterey County, hopefully by the end of March. And then next month, we will be kicking off our update to the Designing for Transit guidelines. So I'd like to encourage each of your jurisdictions to have your planning and public work staff to review our current version of the guidelines and share any feedback that they'd like to have incorporated into the update. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for MST? Okay, we'll move on to the next, last but not the least, Embark. David Frisbee, go ahead.
Not the least, okay. Yeah, just Dave Frisbee, I'm the Planning and Air Monitoring Manager here at the Air District. Just want to let you know about a program that we just launched this past week. It's called our Zero Emission Utility Vehicles Program, otherwise known as ZEUS. This program is a replacement program for old utility terrain vehicles that can be really polluting, especially if they're 2-stroke engines. These are these small little golf cart sized types of vehicles that you see around farms, and so the program will pay up to 75% of the replacement costs, up to $13,500 for the replacement of an old UTV with all electric models. Funding comes from the State of California Air Resources Board, and it's passed through the Monterey Bay Air Resources District. The program's open to public agencies, nonprofits, and agricultural businesses. And then also wanted to let you know that we're in development of a program to help provide grants for EV infrastructure, so DC fast charge and level 2 charging stations in opportune locations throughout the region, Monterey, San Benito, and Santa Cruz counties. And that's it. Thanks.
Thank you. Any questions for David? If not, we'll close item number 11, and item number 12 is reports on meetings attended by board members at TAMC expense. Anybody? Yes, go ahead.
Yes, I was actually just looking the date. Maybe Todd, you could help me, but I went about 2 weeks ago to Sacramento in a TAMC vehicle with Todd Muck, and it was a meeting that was called by the Speaker of the Assembly to discuss the the Capital Corridor extension to Salinas. And it was a great meeting with Union Pacific, Caltrans, Caltrain, and other really important folks at the table.
How was the carpool? Just
I
kidding.
won't comment on the turbo roundabout at 156. You handled it so well, like a race car.
Just also know Supervisor Church is also in the carpool, so part of the report.
Yeah, part of the report would be that Supervisor Church was also with me.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay. All right, the next item is the ED report. Go ahead, Todd.
All right, thank you. A couple items have been covered already, so I'll be brief. One is there was a question about availability of presentations earlier in the meeting. I just wanted to note that all the presentations that are done at the TAMC board meetings are posted on the TAMC website as part of our agenda section of the report. And you can also get links to the YouTube for the video that's posted soon after the meeting. So if you ever want to go back and see what you said, you can look at it there. And then also, Scott mentioned, we're proceeding with CMGC delivery. Really excited about that for the 101 South of Salinas. But also, we just recently submitted a $25 million build grant, a federal grant for the 101 South of Salinas corridor. So we're pursuing all options to fund the project, and just excited that the team was able to put that together and attempt for that very elusive federal funds for a project. So that concludes my report.
Thank you, Todd. Any questions? Okay, so we'll move on to item number 14. Any announcements from anybody related to future agendas or matters that they wish to put on future items? If not, the good news, guys, is that we finished the closed session today, so there is no closed session. So I will adjourn the meeting then. Thank you, everyone, for hanging in here.